We're pretty excited to bring this episode to you as the second half of season 46 begins with our dear friend John Krasinski. And for those of you who are following us on Patreon, uh, you had some excitement if you got to watch our pre-season 46 second half preview.
Yeah. We had some takes that will to be determined, but I think a lot of our takes on this episode were pretty darn spot on, and we'll definitely get to those as we talk about the episode. But I think this was, as we'll get to as well, a very strong start to the second half of the 46 campaign.
Oh yeah, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it, and a lot of our predictions came true.
Yeah, and so let's dive right in here with our cold open was more of a current events melange, potpourri, if you will, when we had Kate McKinnon as herself hosting a show called "Does This Still Work?" And she brought in various things, including political stuff. I thought at first, oh, here we go again, but then they clearly went into other areas of public life. And leading off though was Cecily Strong as I'll just say that Congresswoman from Georgia who is not all there.
She might be missing a piece or two.
Yeah, and so this was Cecily and Kate working together. I thought this would be Cecily and Kate just going on and on and on, but it was short lived. And Cecily and Kate were great, but this sketch worked because it had a lot of moving parts and it brought in a lot of people.
I think that's what I liked about the sketch best was that it was kind of almost like three or four different sketches in one. The constant change of different topics and different people made it better than it would have been if it had just been Cecily and Kate. I enjoyed that. And
And they brought
we
in
also see John Krasinski in the cold open, which you don't see all that often. The host coming out for the cold open before the monologue, but there he was. So he made an appearance as well.
Well, what was odd to me about that was that Tom Brady's a pretty nondescript looking white guy. It wasn't like John Krasinski brought them to the table that Mikey Day or Alex Moffat couldn't have brought in there too. So it was an interesting choice, but I'm sure they obviously check with the person first. Like, do you feel comfortable with this? Because I mean, obviously he went from wearing a football jersey to wearing like a shirt, the coat. It wasn't like he had a massive wardrobe change, but still, in a show like that, you maybe want to calm your mind before you do the monologue. So kudos to him. I thought he did. It was a good job with Tom Brady. It wasn't like great, but it was good, and he did it well.
Now, as anybody who's watching this knows, if you know me personally, my fascination with O.J. Simpson is somewhat endless. And the fact that he made an appearance here in this sketch, having gotten his shot and was talking about the current state of affairs, I was glued to my television because you could go a million different ways with that.
Right, and let it be said, we in no way, shape, or form are fans of O.J. Simpson and his antics, but he's a fascinating character that we are enthralled by the O.J. sort of stratosphere, if you will.
I'm not condoning O.J. Simpson in any way.
Right.
I am fascinated by him and the whole aura of him.
Yeah, I mean, he was a celebrity, kind of in a pre-celebrity, like the world we live in now, where we obsess about celebrities. He was kind of like one of the first that really kind of like, became like a transcendent celebrity for all the wrong reasons. But he's just a figure who they didn't need to do that, but they did, and it worked.
Well, it was a big thing on Twitter in my universe because I think it was maybe Thursday he had posted a video saying, encouraging everybody to go out and get their shots. And then he posted a video of him getting his shot. And I just thought it odd because what I said to one of my friends was, is there really anybody out there on the fence about getting this vaccine that sees O.J. Simpson post a picture saying, please get your vaccine and says, oh, well, I guess if OJ is going to do it, I'll do it too. Like, it was just such an odd thing.
I mean, I guess not to get too far down the road here. I think that like there is still an element in the Black community of distrust over vaccines and the government, giving people vaccines, going back to like past the Tuskegee experiments and such. And O.J. Simpson still, I think, is pretty revered in the Black community. So I agree, though. It's kind of an odd thing of like, is OJ really going to be your final starter? Like, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But you know what? Keenan playing OJ is I was texting you while you were sleeping that you buckle up. It's gonna check all the boxes for you.
If Keenan's show does not work out, I'd like to see him just play OJ for a show.
We also had a stock market guy played by Pete Davidson, kind of a trader kind of guy, or one of these Reddit trader guys. Who else was in there?
It was
Social
this
media. We had Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey.
right.
Nothing about this was great. It all just like flowed really well and had some good lines. And do we get paid for being Kate McKinnon's therapist? I feel like her playing Doctor We Notice and her playing herself is like, I think we deserve some type of like commission for letting her do her venting to us.
Yeah, there's a border between comedy and life, and I feel like she's getting more help out of it than she is laughs.
Yeah. So we then move to the monologue, and John Krasinski, of course, comes out, and right away we hear jokes about where's Pam, and kind of what I alluded to last week was John Krasinski is not John Krasinski; he is Jim Halpert, and this monologue definitely fed into that quite a bit.
Yeah, it was all about Jim. There were several. What was really interesting that I had to catch maybe the third or fourth time it happened was when people in the audience were asking questions, they were calling him Jim, and I didn't even notice until maybe the fourth person, and then I was like, "Oh, that's right, his name is John, not Jim."
Yeah.
So to your point, yeah, I mean, I know who John Krasinski is, but John Krasinski he's Jim from The Office.
And then we have him kissing Pete Davidson. Everyone thought was Pam. It was silly. It was fine. I thought this monologue it had some moments, but it was yeah. I don't.
I was fully prepared. I was fully prepared for Jenna Fisher to make an appearance. I thought that's where that was leading. I thought she would be walking out on stage.
Well, when Steve Carell hosted, they had like a little mini reunion with Ellie Kemper and Jenna Fisher. So kudos to him for playing along with it and like letting like kind of poking fun at the fact that The Office has been off the air for what, like 8-9 years now, and he's still willing to like feed into that fan love of the show.
Definitely.
So also at the very end of that open monologue, they had a Jim Halpert cutaway face.
Mm-hmm. Which
was what you think that.
So for all those of you on Patreon watching, this one's for you.
Yeah, collect your winnings at the window, please. Now, on the NBC Live broadcast, there was a commercial featuring Mike Myers and Wayne and Dana Carvey as Wayne and Garth. This for Uber Eats, and it's kind of a teaser for the Super Bowl commercial. So we have that to look forward to this coming Sunday for the big game. We can't say Super Bowl. Our lawyer says you can't say Super Bowl. We have to say the big game.
The big game.
The big game commercial will have Wayne and Garth. So this is a SNL tie-in. Will be Wayne and Garth gracing your TVs during the big game this Sunday.
I think I saw that on the TMZ Instagram today.
Oh yeah. Now I thought interesting at the commercial break they did the cut in. What's happening in the studio. They had the percussionist as part of the SNL band was off in like a side room. They showed her doing her thing and how she's doing that. So it wasn't a set work. It was more just like showing how the music's happening behind the scenes. So always something we like to talk about, and that was kind of a different one for me. We come back to Blue Georgia, which at first I kind of thought didn't know what was going to be, but I found out very, very quickly what this was. A play on the fact that Georgia as elected a president for electoral vote and 2 senators from the Democratic Party. I thought this was a great sketch.
What struck me most about the sketch was that 80 was there, and 80, we've missed 80 for the first half, and I tell you, she is so seamless in some of these sketches that it took me a little bit to remember that she had not been there for the first half. She wasn't showing any rust. She wasn't showing any effects of not having been there. She just stepped right into where she always is and did a fine job.
And this is something that like 80 is never going to be talked about in the same light as Kate or Cecily or going back to like Kristen Wiig or whoever, but like she is just a dang good sketch comedian, and she's so good at like picking up stuff on the fly. One of my notes is like how fast moving the sketch was, and some of her one-liners were just fantastic. There's one I can't think of offhand, but like how quick she was with the joke, and obviously it was probably pre-written, but still like how quickly she just got it in there and then kind of moved on from it.
80 would be up there with like a Rachel Dratch in my
Yeah.
opinion, where no one's gonna put her on their Mount Rushmore, but when you look back and explore her work and her time, you're just very impressed.
And everyone did their pronouns. Everyone said their pronouns, and she
Yes.
said she and ma'am. And it was so quick. And it took me a second to be like, oh, ma'am, oh, like Southern. So like, but it was so fast, so good. And I mean, A.D. Bryant is a great sketch comedian, and later on in this episode, she has some really good stuff too. But like, she was so great. But I think this whole cast, I think there was like 8 or 9 cast members in this sketch, and they all did a great piece. Even like Keenan off the side playing like a very kind of like stereotypical older black gentleman in the South. He was there for like 5, 6 seconds, but he was fantastic.
I read a review of the episode on Sunday morning. Not because I like to read our competitors, but just because I was curious. And one of the things that they pointed out was that this was really the first show all season that all of the cast members had been featured. Everybody was there, and you feel it. You feel it. There was that sketch with I can't remember the country singer's name, but where he was in the bar and he was deciding not to go to the college party, and we kept commenting on how there were so many extras. But in this sketch, with the exception of an older lady who was sitting off to the side, it was all cast members, and that was really great to see.
Yeah, and they all got good airtime. I mean, Des Mukes, he had a great run
Sure.
tonight. He played kind of the hapless deputy in this one. Yeah, this was a fantastic sketch. Well, good execution, good idea. Everything about it was just good.
The perfect Saturday Night Live ending, because the ending of the sketch was a complete 180 from where it had begun.
Yeah. Yep. No, I thought it was to me it was a great sketch. It was topical, but it wasn't like it didn't lean too heavy into like anything like controversial. It was a very good observational bit. We then move on to the nerd or the loser.
The loser, I believe.
The loser is it's Des Mukes plays the nerdy brother. At first, I was like, okay, we've seen this before, like right, like this has been like time and again we've seen Cal Mooney say plays a nerdy cat person, and like the Chris Hemsworth say, hey, this is my friend, kind of thing. But then it just like kept getting better. It was very well performed, and John Krasinski, he is damn good.
John Krasinski is good, but I'm giving a lot of credit to Des Mukes here because I don't know much about him prior to this episode. I picked up a huge John Mulaney vibe from Des Mukes this week, but especially in this sketch. And from me, that's a huge compliment. I love John Mulaney. I think he's hysterical, and that's to your point. If I remember this episode for anything, it's going to be Des Mukes' kind of coming out party, like his debut of being a Saturday Night Live cast member.
No doubt that the first half, Punky Johnson, Lauren Holt got a lot of airtime with Cecily out, with Adi out. Those two kind of filled that gap. Des Mukes didn't quite have that entry, but this one definitely, you saw him had his feet beneath him. He didn't carry any sketches. Maybe this bit he did, but like he was just good all around. He did a great job in so many angles. So again, I was surprised this one got better. I thought it was going to start off slow and cliche and just kind of double down, but they had some really good like things about him and his foreskin and whatnot. I enjoyed it. I'm really surprised I enjoyed it.
Funny. It was well done.
Yeah. We then come back to a bit from like a CNBC type show about the stock market situation with the GameStop and whatnot. And then it kind of went in some very, very interesting directions with John Krasinski's creepy twin children.
I'm very happy that I watched this Sunday morning and not Saturday night, because I'm not sure I would have fallen asleep on Saturday night. I would have been a little. They really. I did not like those twins. They made me very nervous.
And I like the previous one too. I thought this was going to get really weird really fast, and then just kind of spiral into just being very but it got better. I thought it improved as it kept going. It was Mikey Day, and then was it Chloe Fineman as the girl, or was it Kate?
No, it was Kate.
Okay. Yeah, I thought those two were just fantastic in that regard. And
I did note that they actually, I never noticed this before. Maybe it was just good makeup. They resemble each other a little bit. It was really a pretty good casting decision for the two of them to be the twins, because they look the part.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with how this was how well this worked, how well this landed, because I thought it was going to be kind of silly and stupid, and it's kind of just derailed early on. But well done. Our next digital short was fantastic. I didn't know that Nicole Kidman sang a little bit for her show on HBO, but then they put up as Netflix shows having the cast members singing their theme songs. And man, I didn't cover everything in my notes because it was happening so fast, but this was brilliant.
Now, the first few shows I didn't really know too much about, but then they got into The Crown, which certainly we had Margaret Thatcher singing the Crown, and then we had.
But she was singing the theme song to The Voice.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. She's not
singing the wrong one.
And then we had Kelsey Grammer singing Frasier, and then we had Jim Halpert, John Krasinski singing The Office, and it was really just a great fun sketch. They've done things very similar to this in the past, but this was fun.
Yeah, The Office one was good. It was a good lyrics, but like I thought, like Melissa, I forgot what she did. Cecily Strong did Julie Andrews from Bridgerton, and that Melissa did, but she was. I mean, her singing is pretty well known and pretty good. So is Cecily. So I'm not that surprised with how this panned out. Really,
it was what they did really well this episode is they took things that could have gone really badly and kept them on a really good track. I mean, the every sketch, every digital short had the possibility of going really badly, and they took the right turn instead of the wrong turn every single time. I mean, it could have been an A episode, it could have been a D episode, and the difference was how they chose to go through these, kind of go through the sketches, and they did a great job.
Two observations on this bit: they love Kyle Mooney as playing the child from The Mandalorian. They just love it. They love it. Now, it's fine, I guess, but like, let's move on.
Yeah, it's fine. I saw it and I said, okay, all right.
Now, another note here is this sketch ended at 11:06, so 36 minutes into the show, and we had 3 full sketches, a digital short, 2 digital shorts, the monologue and the cold open in 36 minutes. That's fantastic. I mean, that's the way it should be, right?
That pace is what you need. That was the problem with the first couple episodes. That pace is exactly what you need.
Now, you mentioned that John Krasinski, of course, sang the Office theme song in that bit, which brings us to our Stamps.com trivia. Stamps.com is back for the new year. Take care of all your postal needs at Stamps.com. Use coupon code Wild and Crazy and get 0% off your order at Stamps.com. Now, this one, I didn't do intense research, so I may have missed one. But to my knowledge, there have been 3 cast members of The Office who've been on episodes from, let's say, more than 5 episodes of The Office, who are also cast members on SNL. Can you name the 3? I have 3. I may have missed one. I probably did. But I have 3 Office cast members who are also SNL cast. It could have been like a one episode thing, but let's say they were in at least 5, let's say.
Well, Will Ferrell,
yes. I wasn't sure how many episodes at The Office he was on, but I'm pretty sure he qualifies in this.
So they were Office cast members and they had to be SNL cast members, but they had to be on more than 5 episodes of The Office.
Yeah, it couldn't have been just a one-off. They made a guest appearance on The Office, and I couldn't even think of an example who that would even be, but the 2 remaining ones were on at least 5 episodes of The Office.
Okay.
That much I know. And there could be more I missed, but
give me some time on that, and I will certainly get back. David Koechner.
Yes.
What's his name on the show? Todd Packer.
Todd Packer.
Yep. All right. So those 2 we've got down.
All right. So you think about it more, then we'll proceed. And we come back after that with a sketch. This is Heidi Gardner's debut of the night. This was the dinner party or pizza party, game night, if you will. And this is where they tackled the Capitol storming incident. And I thought this was a creative way of doing it, in my opinion. As everyday, ordinary, suburban people, but in reality, a lot of people that stormed the Capitol were probably very ordinary, suburban people who have very normal lives. I thought this was well done. They handled a delicate situation. It wasn't the best sketch, but I thought they handled it well.
Yeah, I thought it was, and to your clairvoyance, the Viking hat did come out in this sketch, as did the speaker stand. So we knew they were going to do something like this. We knew they were going to do something with this, but I really enjoyed how they did it. Wasn't sure how they were going to, but I really enjoyed how they did.
Yeah, I had nothing to really say about beyond that. It got old very quick, but like, it wasn't the best sketch tonight, but to me, it did what it had to do, and it worked. So, I'll give him points for credit on that one for sure.
Yeah.
We then get to updates, um, and kind of to your point last week on Michael Che, he told a joke that was uh, about trans people, and the audience didn't care for it too much, and Che really pushed back. And to me, I'm not saying I like the joke or not. I just like it when Che does that because to me, that's in that moment. I think that's what he does best.
Yeah, he is. He when he, as I said last week, when he finds something funny, it's funny. In his world, it's funny. If you're not laughing, that's your problem, not his. There
And it's got
was
to be.
one observation.
Go
There
ahead.
was one observation from Weekend Update that I wanted to definitely get in there before I forget it. The Fran Lebowitz, Marty Scorsese conversation. I do not believe. First of all, it goes right back to what we said about Bowen Yang last week. He's not being utilized correctly. But
Uh-huh.
also, uh, I don't think I've ever seen a sketch or a joke or anything that has had the audience as silent as Fran Lebowitz and Marty Scorsese. There was no response from that audience at all while all of this was going on.
Can I offer a theory that I just thought of just a second?
Sure.
This has to have been Lauren Michaels' the idea, right? I mean, I'm sure Lauren Michaels. I know nothing about Fran Lebowitz. I don't, except I see the Netflix preview. She's
Well, it's
obviously a
complete.
very, but
That's completely inside baseball. It's totally inside baseball. It's too inside a reference. It's not a national reference. It's a very New York. That's the kind of thing you could do in a Times Square improv show that would kill because it's a New York joke. But
yeah,
otherwise, it doesn't make any difference to me.
like I'm sure that Lauren Michaels has had cocktails with Scorsese and Fran Lebowitz, and had that happen, thought it was the funniest thing ever. Um, that's all I can think of because it just seemed odd. I didn't get it, and aside from Bowen Yang being used in that very cliche way, um, it just wasn't funny at all.
Now, I have to go back real quick because I cannot remember Steve Carell's wife's name, but she was an SNL character. She was an SNL.
We'll give you partial credit. Nancy Walls. Nancy Walls is her name.
Yeah,
We'll give you partial credit for that one. There you go. Those are the three I thought of. If you think of somebody else, readers, listeners, let us know if I missed one there. But I believe those three were the Office cast members, SNL cast members.
I'm very proud of
Um,
it. Very proud.
that's good. Well done. Um, the My Pillow guy, very predictably was on this. It was all right. It was fine. It served its
Update,
purpose.
update for me was where the episode started taking a bit of a turn.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't
great.
great.
No, and Kathy Ann came on. I'm fine with Kathy Ann. She wasn't that great, but it was good. At the end, though, there was a joke that you wouldn't get. I'm married, so I watched Bridgerton. And at the end, Kathy Ann said, "Can we do a Bridgerton type thing?" Basically, on the show, the protagonist, it's a couple, and the man is black and the woman is white, and they get married. And so
Yeah.
she was referencing that. So I caught the joke, and it was really quick, and it was under the radar, under the gun. But that's about it. Kathy Ann was fine.
Kathy Ann's always fine.
Yeah, that's all she is. Um, we then had Machine Gun Kelly performing.
Now he's either married to or engaged to or dating Megan Fox.
Correct. I believe that Megan Fox left her relationship with Brian Austin Green, I think, to be with Machine Gun Kelly. So yeah,
Na,
that is
na,
correct.
na, 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 na. That's 90210.
Uh-huh. But yeah, so I think that Machine Gun Kelly, I thought he was fine. Not my style of music, but um, you know, it's all right.
Just fine.
Well, it's fine. Um, now we then came back with a sketch, Supermarket Sweep. Now I'll let you drive here, but I want to lead off with it's a small detail and it's easy to do, but they even had like the filter on the camera to look like a 90s, like a cheaply produced 90s sitcom, which is what it was. So kudos to the crew for that, but I'll let you take it away from here.
I have a group of friends that is they're big game show fans just like myself. And one of the conversations we have had over and over and over again in watching old episodes of Supermarket Sweep is the fact that David Ruprecht has no idea when there is a gay or lesbian couple playing that game.
Okay.
He has no clue. He is lost, clueless, no chance he would have any idea. So when they introduced each other, and on the show, on the real Supermarket Sweep, they always introduce themselves as roommates or very close friends. Never do they say they're in a relationship. And so when that was the angle this sketch took, I lost it because we have had that conversation more times than I can count. Now, that in itself, fantastic. Everything else about the sketch, like the fact that they were guessing everything before he read the question, she has weak ankles. Kate proposed to her in the aisle. Okay, whatever. But the basis, the very start of David Ruprecht not having any idea what was going on, I beg any of you at home, Joe, I beg you to watch any episode of Supermarket Sweep.
I'm not going to do that.
Dead on. Dead on.
Well, yeah, you without question are, I think, of men in their 30s, you're probably the top 5 in the whole world for knowledge on Supermarket Sweep. Not like 5%, but like the top 5 in the of all the 7 billion people on Earth, of the group of that fits into the 30 to 40-year-old men. You have to be top 5. So I'll take your word. I thought the observation about knowing all the prices right away and like the ankle joint thing, I thought it was a stupid little detail, but I thought it was like something that someone in that demographic would like complain about. Like it worked, but look, this was the first time. What?
She took a tumble trying to get that toilet paper.
Bone on bone. Now, this is the first time Adie and Kate have been together in studio all season. So you know what? I'm fine with it. Like this was their love letter to each other. This is their reunion. Like I said, it wasn't the best sketch. It kind of fell off hard at the end. But man, it was good to see them back together. Those two have a bond that is, you know, I don't think they're together anyway like that, but like I think them as people off the show are like incredibly close friends, and they get along, have great chemistry together, and so it was great to see them back together.
Their chemistry is fantastic.
Doing their thing. We then had a Subway pitch meeting. And more Des Mukes. Des Mukes is letting him cook here. I thought this was an okay sketch. I thought the performances were great though.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The writing was fine. The concept was fine. Everybody around that table put 100% into their part on this thing. It was the best. I think it was the best performed sketch of the night.
I mean, Beck Bennett to me I know he is good in sketches, but this was like, he was fantastic on this one. And he wasn't even that great, but like something about his delivery, the way he his mannerisms is playing like the out of touch, like bald guy with like the male pattern bald spot and like the ill fitting suit. I thought it was great.
Well, and Keenan too. Keenan really did a nice job too.
Well, Keenan was almost bust up a couple of times, but like you saw Keenan able to rein it back in like the pro that he is. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, again, the sketch itself was not fantastic, but the performances were good. And Des Mukes again. I mean, he had parts in 3 bits, and I thought he did very well in all of the bits.
When we post these, I always name the episode, season 46 episode, whatever, and then whoever the host and musical guest is. I feel like this week I should just call it the Des Mukes episode. It's kind of like the Sandberg game.
Yeah, this might be the turning point for Des Mukes. You know, as we look ahead to like last year, we had no cast changes really of people leaving, but you know, you got to believe this year we'll have some people leaving, and so that obviously fills a vacuum. And you know, the reps he's getting this year will only serve him well. We then had Machine Gun Kelly for another performance. Nothing really to talk about on my end here. And 11:55. This was a 11:55 sketch, right? This was stupid. It had maybe a chuckle or two here or there, but you know, I don't want to give too much out here, but aside from seeing Chloe Fineman like that, I didn't. This was just a throwaway, but that's what 11:55 slots for.
Well, exactly. You got to fill 5 minutes somehow.
Yeah, the Ratatouille bits. I didn't get it.
I know that Ratatouille is like a TikTok musical now.
Okay.
Like a thing now, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what I was supposed to take from that.
Yeah, nor I. But 11:55 is like the pitcher in your lineup. If he gives you a hit, it's great. If not, like, well, we expected that anyway. So that's kind of what they're for. And in our closing credits, we had again our full cast. This is the first time we've had, to my knowledge, the entire cast in studio for the closings. Pete Davidson and Machine Gun Kelly fell off the stage, which honestly is kind of
Seems right.
I'm not surprised.
That seems right. And Bo and Yang reacting to them falling off the stage went viral. That was the most viral moment of the episode this weekend. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That seems right. They just fell right off the stage.
A moment I noticed too was like the musicians, two of the Machine Gun Kelly's members were in the back, like watching the NSNL band do their thing, kind of like in awe or just kind of like impressed by that moment. And I thought that was kind of cool. Otherwise, pretty typical stuff there. I'm gonna give this episode. I'm gonna give it an A-. I want to give it A, but the last couple of bits just weren't enough. They were good, but it's not good enough. A-, I'll give that.
I gave it B+, so really the same grade, 1 point off. But I'm with you. What they did well, they did really, really well. But after Update, they started off so strong, but Update just kind of fell off a little bit. But hey, B+ is that's pretty darn good, and as is A-. So no complaints here.
And I think Krasinski was absolutely fantastic to me. I thought his acting was always good. He had no sketches that like weren't good, that he was like kind of a dud in.
Yeah, he not only seemed to enjoy himself, he was really good at what he did. So he was a nice pick.
Even the Ratatouille bit, it was a dumb bit, but I thought he didn't drag it down anymore. He was kind of kept it level, but I thought he was great top to bottom and really impressed with what he did.
Yeah, he's a keeper. We like him.
So we got Dan Levy and Phoebe Bridgers, not Phoebe Waller-Bridges. So we're looking forward to seeing her. I have no idea what she looks like or what she does, but we'll find out on Saturday.
She was not on Fleabag.
Any predictions? I think we'll get a sports sketch of some sort in here.
I very selfishly remember the OJ sketch of when he was using the teleprompter, years and years and years ago, and then he wrote "I did it" when he was doing all the passes and such. Based on Keenan being on there last week, I'd love to see him as a guest commentator for the big game. We can't call it the Super Bowl, but for the big game. I'd love to see that. That's not necessarily a prediction. It'd just be something fun to see. I think what would be really fun to see would be a Super Bowl party at Mar-a-Lago. I think that would be an excellent cold open.
That could be a way to bring back. Yeah, I think so too. I think that the unintentional comedy of that. Now, I believe next week is the impeachment trial starts, so that could be a C-SPAN cold open piece, but probably for the week after that. I hope we don't have like a Bo and Yang, Dan Levy, overly flamboyant. I don't know if you watch Schitt's Creek at all, but on the show, Dan Levy plays a very dramatic, overly flamboyant person. So I hope we don't go down that road with Bo and Yang, because use him better.
We need justice for Bowen.
Yeah, he's not my. I don't think he's not my favorite cast member, but I think he has more in him than they're letting him show.
Well, that's exactly it. He's got a lot of talent and a lot of ability, and they're really kind of pigeonholing him into a couple different types of roles.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been fun because there it is. This has been fun. Good episode. And we're looking forward, of course, to next week to bring you Dan Levy and not Phoebe Waller-Bridges. And Joe, anything else?
I think that's it. I mean, this is Monday night, February 1st. So the question is, tomorrow we'll still see his shadow?
He will see a shadow tomorrow.
Okay,
He will.
there it is. Heard it here first.
You heard it here first. All right. Say good night, Joseph.
Good night, Joseph.